Hello, hello, and welcome back to Divine Journey 2. Last time we took our first little foray into Thaumcraft. We were able to get the workbench charger, which is very important for the arcane workbench. We went to Skythern, we got the stuff we need to make the Infusion altar, and really we're right about at Infusion. Between episodes I did a little bit more research, among a few other things. As you may be able to see, there's a little bit of a danger noodle over here. This is probably the third or fourth one we've had here, which is crazy, because there's a glass ceiling up there, and that's supposed to prevent danger noodles in this chunk. But, I don't know, the Dark Realm's evil or something. Anyway, I don't know what we're going to do about that, especially when it does whatever that was, because this is where I plan on having all the Essentia smelteries, but I don't really feel comfortable having one there if the sliver of death is right there ready to eat it at any given time. Because let it be known, that certainly ate a few things already. There was a taint seed that spawned here. It kind of ate through a lot of the floor here. It made a real big mess. Thankfully didn't break anything super important, but still very bad. And, well, this is way too close for comfort to what I would like. Normally these things can collapse on their own, or at least they, can. But this one hasn't yet. And, what was that? What? Why did that happen? Yeah, so I don't know what's up with this thing. It's just evil. This thing's been causing all sorts of problems. Anyway, you may have also noticed that there's a bit more light around the area. I went ahead and made a bunch of Nitor because I think it's very pretty, and it's a very pretty light source. I think it works very well here. I might change the colors of these at some point, but for now I think the yellow is a nice contrast. I installed Optifine as well, and I am looking for alternatives. I'm not sure if it comes across very well on YouTube, but this is like a weird shading thing to it that looks a little off, and it shouldn't because it's just a full block. Apparently we have OpenGL errors, I couldn't tell you why. And probably the most important thing of the bunch is this. Like, are you kidding me? What's going on with this? Like, the drawers have this little shading thing to it, which I don't mind. I think it looks nice. There's nothing wrong with it. But this sucks. This is terrible. The grass over here is very nice. I really like how this looks. We added a couple Nidors over here as well. And we also built out a little bridge over here. If that time-lapse hasn't shown up yet, it'll probably show up soon. So, be excited for that, or, contain your nostalgia for what happened a couple minutes ago. And additionally, I set up another tier 5 blood altar over here. I haven't set up anything to this yet, besides an ender tank down here at the bottom. That ender tank is hooked up to that blood altar. That one is basically producing all of our LP, and this one has enough displacement and acceleration runes to properly fill this one all the time. So this should hold us very well for whenever we need to craft slates or the like. I just need to actually set up the automation for that. And I'll do that at some point today, I'm sure. And finally, I upgraded ore processing a little bit. This one is now a Smelting Efficiency, Fortune, and Rive book, and makes us a whole lot of ores without any processing required. And this one is Silk Touch Efficiency and Rive, and only yields the things that we wouldn't be able to get from the other quarry. I was originally trying to upgrade all these to hopefully have enough running capacity to last one of those, or maybe both of them at Rive 3 or something like that, but it just wasn't possible because I was running super low on diamonds. It is why I felt the need to upgrade more specifically. Now though, our diamond backlog is picking back up. We were at about 36,000 before I did these upgrades from a big drawer I had of nether diamonds laying around, but before that we were at 0, which was bad. But now we've been steadily rising for the past little while, so that's good. So for today, I would like to first unlock Infusion. Obviously, we're very close to it. After that, I would like to get a properly clean burning Essentia setup, ideally so that I can move the not terrible parts of Thaumcraft into the overworld here. I would then like to get a proper Flux cleaning setup. They say this is gated behind Bewitchment, but I don't know if that's true. And then if we've got time, let's go to Mortum and see what that has for us. Supposedly a lot of sodium. Now the reason I say the beginning of Bewitchment is what the quest book says is because, well, the quest book says it here. It says only then do we gain the Flux condenser and lattices, but this doesn't take anything from Bewitchment. These arcane mechanisms are something we actually are supposed to get partway through the chapter. Same thing with the easier versions. These Vidium crystals come shortly after we unlock Infusion. We've made the resonators before, and Thaumium's no different. And these condenser lattices are also stuff we've done before. So I really couldn't tell you what we need Bewitchment for. Maybe I'm just missing something. Oh, well, the rift is gone, but that's there now. That's an interesting place for that to be at. And it's setting things on fire again. That's probably what happened to my floor the first time. Yeah, I bet there's this fibrous taint that let the crucible catch fire. Alright, all cleaned up. That's one less headache to worry about. And hopefully that stuff should stay gone, because the glass roof is up at build limit now. Okay, that was expensive. We have 41 Essentia smelteries. I plan on upgrading these to Thaumium once we get the opportunity to. The quest has a couple different lists here. There's a list of getting 2 aspects or more per thing, or the 1 aspect or more per thing, or I guess the only 1 per item per smeltery. I originally wanted to have something more compact, like say pulling 2 different aspects from the same item. For example, something like gas tiers would be good, I think, for all 3 of those aspects. But in thinking about it, I feel like a lot of the utility it would provide is significantly outweighed by the ease of setup. What I mean by that is, say we were trying to get Alchemia, Exanimus, and Spiritus from one thing, how would we know to, if we're out of Spiritus but full on the other 2, to keep smelting out Spiritus without just constantly voiding it? And once we hit top on Spiritus, how do we know to stop and not just keep voiding it? Because like if we have them all on void jars, voiding excess, then we're just going to keep running this forever, and that's a waste. So I feel probably the best bet is to just do 1 smeltery per Essentia. I could probably look forward and see, oh, what are we going to need much more of, that kind of thing. Or I could potentially greed out until we get Energistics, but I feel it's probably better just to do this properly the first time. That said, because I am stubborn if nothing else, I will not immediately look at this whole list of things, and I'll just kind of look among, things that produce the aspect and see what makes it. I might use this as like a fallback option, but otherwise I think I'm just going to try and figure it out myself. Every time I jump cut, it's just a little bit more of my soul that is ripped asunder. I had to make 41 of these Essentia buffers, because otherwise we can't actually extract several types of Essentia from one Alembic, or at least not through the same tube. And these things are expensive. This looks not bad until you realize that each of these is a suppression reagent. This was 41 ender casings, by the way, and each of these is a boiler valve, which is a cosmic alloy and all this stuff. So, pretty reasonable, of course. And now, a brief intermission, a commercial, if you will. My problem is I have too many things that need filtering. I need all of these things to have coal in them, but I don't want to do that. All my coal is being exported on this black channel here, and all these machines can only accept from the bottom for coal. Do you know how terrible it would be to click 4 times per machine for 40 machines? That's over 160 clicks. Introducing the Uber Conduit probe, where I copy this configuration and then paste the entire thing. Now they're all ready. Don't believe me? Watch this. That one's got coal, that one's got coal, that one's got coal. Can you believe it? I can't, but I can, because that's the power of the Uber Conduit probe. Get yourselves one of these. They're great. Okay, that took forever. I have all the filters set, but I don't have all the Essentias smelted yet, as I need to extend the glass ceiling a little bit more, and we have a few more things we need to actually automate first. Everything here in these interfaces is what I've chosen to turn into Essentia. For the most part, we have the majority of these, or can make them fairly easily. Notable exceptions here are Athaxium boots. These are a very pure form of Praemunio, and they're very cheap, as we get Athaxium all the time from our mob farm. White wool we don't actually make yet, but, we can. Same is true of shovels, and swords, and bowls, and oak buttons. Much as I would love for it to be dark oak buttons, those do not have a Essentia. So really these 6 things are just like a crafting step each, so let's go do that real quick. Okay, so I've got just about everything filtered. I've re-automated everything else that needs automating, I believe. I've expanded the glass ceiling up there. The only thing I'm missing is some jars in these various spots, but that's okay. As well as void jars for the excess. I should do that. Oh man. Okay. I think I have it all ready. I've got void jars in place for the excess. The only thing I'm missing are the jars themselves for the main things, as well as some extra labels, but I can put those in after we actually have the Essentials to work with. So I think I just gotta turn it on and have a bit of confidence in myself. I did increase the glass ceiling, so hopefully that should be okay. It is all the way up at build limit for each chunk and each adjacent chunk to any smeltery, so if a void rift spawned down here, I don't know, I'm just gonna lose my mind, I guess. I think I'm going to turn these on bit by bit. Everything's filtered, of course. I'm going to turn it on just a little bit at a time, just so I can filter things properly. And hopefully that's okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, the area is already very not happy with me. We have 3 times as much flux as we do with Aura, or V. That's crazy. We have a few that aren't filtered, such as Stellae and I believe a couple others. Oh, yep, here we are. We've already got a little danger noodle over here. And well beneath the glass ceiling for that matter, so hopefully that doesn't show up over here or else I'm going to scream, I think. Oh, we've got another one, and this one's also still beneath the glass ceiling. They seem relatively small, but also I know what these things do, so I don't know. Maybe the Dark Realm's just wrong. Oh no, there's another one down there. Wait, oh my goodness gracious. Do you see that? Do you see that down there? Look at the size of this thing. At least this one's way at the bottom of the world. Oh, boy. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll be honest. This is not turning out as I thought it would. You know, everything, all signs, including, you know, the quest book and every other Let's Play I've ever seen in my life point to that, you know, saying no to flux rifts. But, I don't know. I'm different, I guess. And not in a good way. Yeah, so this is like a problem. There's a flux rift there, and there, and there, and down there, and there. Quite literally in every spot that there should not be one. Would love some assistance from the comments for this one, because, you know, this shouldn't happen. Well, on the bright side, everything seems to be filling up quite well. Again, the only things that we don't have are like Luna and Stellae, because I don't have great options for those yet, and I don't really have a need for those yet, for that matter. But, you know, that's pretty bad, 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 that's probably really bad. Dude, look at how big that is down there. That's, like, actually a really big problem. Like, this is colossal. It's making a circle. I don't think they're supposed to do that. Honestly, I don't know what I am to do about this. Like, even some of the surrounding chunks are getting a little fluxed up. Like, over here, it's, like, really bad, obviously. Maybe I should just claim all of these just for safety's sake. I don't know, maybe I was supposed to claim them from the start, and that's why there's nothing here. I don't really get it. But we do have Essentia smelting. Okay, so I took a break, cleared my head, came back, babysat all the flux rifts until they exploded into seeds, and then shot the seeds. And currently, we don't have anything because these have been idle for a while now. They're all filled up. So I'm just gonna hope that that doesn't happen again. I mean, it probably will, but, you know, I'll just pretend it won't, or something, I don't know. Maybe I'll have better ideas by the next episode. Well, I would hardly call it clean burning, but it is Essentia setups. So, okay, so we're back here again. I have learned many things since the last cut. It's a new day now. Firstly, as a result of extensive testing due to people in Threefold Discord, thank you Starlight and Anti-Axolotl very much. I would have tested it myself, but I was tired and angry, so they did it for me. Apparently, that trick just doesn't work in Abyssalcraft dimensions. Works in Divine RPG dimensions, but I don't know why it doesn't work here. Works in every other dimension, so I don't know. But I am no one if not spiteful. So I have decided to take matters into my own hands. If the game is going to cheat me, I am going to cheat back. In total, we have 6 chunks that produce an absurd amount of flux. Typically, these 6 chunks that produce a lot of flux would not have this issue with the glass ceiling. However, due to circumstances outside of my control, this does not work, so I'm going to turn these circumstances into my control. I'm going to make 6 mechanical users, stuff them at build height, and have them running flux sponges at all times. Because if this doesn't work, I'm going to make it work. If you're upset with me for this decision, I understand, but I refuse to capitulate. I could certainly build all this stuff back in Eden and move all this infrastructure over there, but that would be really annoying, and I don't think anyone would really get much out of that. This is my Cheater's Thumb Anomicon. Sue me. That is all 6 I have claimed. cheat mode goes off, and it will stay off. At least until the game decides to throw me another curveball. And speaking of curveballs, these Essentia mirrors are very finicky and don't seem to often work, so we're not doing Infusion in the overworld today either. One solution I saw was to use a lot of emptying transfusers and moving all the Essentia straight from the Alembics into the overworld. However, no. You know, that's 41 transfusers at least. That's upwards of 82 sodium, not including if I need one for the in and the out, which would be almost 3 stacks of sodium, which once we go to Mortum is not too bad, but as it stands, that would be somewhere in the realm of 120 stacks of alchemical brass, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not doing that. So if we're just going to skip past that for now, let's just go to Infusion and we'll call it with Mortum or something like that, I don't know. So we need 8 arcane pedestals, but this is a lie. We actually need 9, and this is something I commonly forget, is that the middle pedestal needs to be a, well, pedestal. That little block right there. So I had 8, but I need to make another one now. Which thankfully making these is a lot easier now that we actually have all of these Essentias passived. So that's nice. Okay, you want to know something really unfortunate about this? This is a 4 wide walkway. I didn't mean to do that. I'm not fixing that at this point, are you kidding me? One, look at how pretty this all looks. Look at this beautiful spectrum of colors. I spent a lot of time making this look like this. This bit at the end is, you know, ones that ran out, but for the most part it looks quite nice. Anyway, here's 9 arcane pedestals. Oh, 8, I guess. That lifts my spirits a bit. 24 blocks of Darksteel, don't mind if I do. Alright, back on topic, back to having fun. I'm having fun already! So if we give this a little tap, now it spins. Ain't that something? So we want to set up some infusion stabilizers around here. Things like candles, mob skulls, and etc. work. Apparently these all work in a much bigger radius than I thought. So I'm going to spam like a ton of heads beneath this place, and then probably add some candles up top just for, you know, aura. Well, this is very pretty. There's also a bunch of mop heads down below, but most of the stability here is coming from just the candles that are up here. And I like these candles, they're nice. I'll probably make a bunch more of these once I have the thaumatorium or whatever for right there. So what's the quest want us to do again? Oh, we're making this right now. Great! So this is not too bad, all things considered. Let's get like, how many of these do we want actually? Well, it seems we need 1 for each transfuser, so that's going to be a few. We're going to need 2 if we want to ever upgrade the Essentia smelteries, which I do. It makes them more efficient. We're going to need some for the Witch's Cauldrons. 2 to go to Skyther, or no, this is Mortum. I always get confused because it says Skyther in black, but it takes us to Mortum. Yeah, so we're probably going to want to have probably a couple dozen of these, but we'll start small for now. Alright, so I set up a pattern for this. Let's see if it works. I guess we do need these Essentia valves. The interface that has this pattern in it just puts into this chest here, and then I'll just put into this stuff manually for right now. I'll probably automate this a lot better once we have a proper setup in the overworld. Same thing with the arcane workbench over there. But as it stands, we kind of need to do this way. We can use some item lasers and relays if we wanted to, but we still run into the issue of we need to make things like Essentia valves in the arcane workbench, so it doesn't really change a whole lot. Plus we need to actually bring the jars of Essentia over here. So again, it's already kind of manual as is, so you know, what can you really do about it? I guess automating certain steps makes it easier, but meh. No, it's been far too long since I got to do something like this. Oh yeah! Problem is, it's just too cool. Yeah, so we're going to want a total of 4 of these alchemical constructs. We want 2 to make these Skyther blocks. You need 2 in the hearts here. And then we also want 2 to put on top of the crucible to make a thaumatorium, which should be able to automatically extract Essentia when it needs it to make a given item, which is really helpful. I mean, as the quest book says, it's crucible automation. But really, we should be able to just put this here right now, give it a little sparkle of magic. And away and go. We'll just put some Essentia tubes on the sides here, and we'll just bring jars here manually for right now. I don't think a Essentia transfuser would get all the way to like the end there, and I know for certain we would probably need some of those ending jars. Something like Ignis and Lux I imagine we would need, and that's certainly out of range. So we can just bring the jars over here for the time being whenever we do need to craft something. We'll grab ourselves a hungry chest, just toss right in front of here. So now what this should do is whenever we make something in here, like say, oh, let's make some alchemical brass actually. Yeah, so if we want to make a bunch of alchemical brass, we can just put these right up here. Toss this in here, select alchemical brass, and leave. Cool, right? And then all of our brass should go into this chest once it's done. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but, you know, who cares about how fast it is if I don't have to be here to do it? Anyway, I'm going to make some more of these constructs up real quick, and we'll see if we can't go to Mortum. You know, I must say, there is truly nothing quite like some good old-fashioned thawing. Now that I don't have to worry about all that stuff that I was worrying about in the first half, I'm just a lot happier because I get to be thawing and go to Mortum. Oh my gosh, a ground spawn. I've never been so fortunate. Oh, these are thorns. Ow. Oh, that's cool. Well, this is some pretty cool terrain. I like these plants. Oh, what's that over there? A chest. Hey, that's not bad. Wouldn't be a Divine RPG dimension without an annoying spellbinder, would it? I really couldn't even tell you where it's trying to attack me or from where. We should probably also mark our portal. So the quest is telling us to look for a tower. We fight Vimashron at the top. We'll take some leaking souls, and we'll want 5 of them in total. And welcome to Bewitchment. Cool. Yeah, this must be that tower they're telling me about. Now I can already hear the spellbinders inside. Oh, I see a spawner. Gotta get rid of that. And look at all those guys. Wonder what's in this chest. Some more good stuff. Ooh, potency cores. That's nice. Let's see if luck gives me any better loot. Ooh, that's some really good stuff. I think there's a potion trap up there because a guy walked down. I heard a dispenser fire. You know, traps aren't very good if you're the one setting it off, my guy. Ooh, piece of sodium. Big fan of that. I think there's guys ahead of me. Whoop. Just run for... Oh my goodness. There's so many guys! Ooh, I got an idea, actually. I made one of these the other day to help clear out some space for a river. Yeah, no more spawners anymore, baby. $500 HP on those basilisks, by the way. Ooh, more loot. Nice. Oh no, I think I blew up a chest. I think I still got the stuff inside, though. Yeah. Alright, cool. There's a piece of sodium in there. Ooh, glad I didn't lose that. Ooh, another one. Hey, 2 sodium. Oh, the Catalans are here. I thought I wouldn't be able to get away from them. You know, I bet the 5th time we reuse the cow texture will be the one that makes everyone excited. Alright, let's see what Vimashron is like. Oh, he's a big Catalan. Ah, of course. Maybe we should have grabbed the potion or something for this. Or my meat feeder, for that matter. Nah, you just got vorpaled too hard. Yeah, take 150 damage, bozo. Thank you for the key. Ooh, and this is probably worth opening the medicine bag for. I want some luck for this. Ooh, a halite blade. Oh, nice. Yeah, oh, no, we got all 5 of the mysterious souls. All right. Totally worth keeping this medicine bag on us. Yeah, this halite blade's a great find. It deals 36 damage. And our Skythorn blade only does 34, even with sharpness 5 already. This thing's gonna be gnarly. This is some pretty good loot, though. 5 sodium, some elementium, a couple pieces of thaumium and brass, a handful of these curiosities. Please ignore the bucket sounds. A lot of cores. This is pretty good. I might come back to these. Let's head back home and revel in our riches. Look at this piece of kit. A little bit extra, but I mean, it'll certainly get the job done. 39 damage plus the Vorpal chance. That Vorpal is going to hit for like 200 damage. That could one-shot an Ender Dragon, I think. Albeit half the things we've been fighting in Divine RPG lately have been tougher than Ender Dragons. Well, now that we're back, we should probably tick some things off our docket. Like that, and that. And I guess we'll come back to this once we actually have a better overworld area for Thaumcraft. But as it stands, we don't really have that, so we don't really need this currently. Well, I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to see how much time I've spent in the episode so far. And if we have some time, we'll start Bewitchment a little bit. That'll be fun. Or maybe we'll just tune up Thaumcraft a little bit more. We'll see once we get back. If we get back. A lot of variables here. We've got a little bit of time left. So let's make some of these Bewitchment seeds. For this hellebore, it looks like we need the souls, some night ore, which isn't too bad, rare earth. This nether seed might be a little tricky, but we've made this before, so it shouldn't be too bad. Shimmerleaf we find like around here. There should be next to the silverwood trees. And a biothomic mine we just need the research for, but otherwise is very doable. Mandrake seeds seem to be much of the similar, although for these we need creeper seeds and a cinder pearl. Creeper seeds, we actually just unlocked this tier 3 of mystical agriculture. So it's one of these condensed crystals, which is 8 of the smaller ones. Some creeper chunks, this is nothing too crazy. Yeah, this is nothing too bad, just steps. Well, that wasn't too bad. A little expensive, but very manageable. These mandrake seeds especially were really aspect dense. That's a lot. But that's okay, because we have them all passive now. So I think next time we're going to take our little first baby steps into Bewitchment here. Once we get to this section, we're going to take a little detour and head back into this little area, which will take us to Chapter 21, Thaumic Augmentation, and really just Thaumcraft Part 2. We are going to need to come back to here and finish out the right half of Bewitchment, but that's only required of us down here in Chapter 22, so we have time to, well, mess around for a bit. Plus, if we kind of rush down here, we might be able to get to digital Essentia storage, which would be really, really good, because then we can actually move stuff to the overworld here, and we won't have to worry about the finicky mirrors or nothing. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Today was a weird one. We had a brief warp event for real while trying to set up our Essentia smelteries, although set them up we did. We got Infusion crafting already, and we made strong use of it quite a few times already. We went to Mortum, fought a boss, domed him in the head for 500 damage as I saw while reviewing the footage, and took our first little baby steps into Bewitchment. It's not a mod I've ever really messed with, but I was showing my friend and he seemed immediately excited upon seeing it, so that's probably a good sign. And he doesn't even play modded. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.